Hey guys, it's Bill. Key City Winter Event number 2 back in January, about a week ago, week and a half ago, something like that. Anyway, got a couple of my C1 runs, a couple of my C2 runs, and we're just going to critique it, kind of tell you what I was thinking, what I was trying to do. Dave Z was spotting for me, which makes me super nervous because he's like super pro, uber pro. Love you, Dave. Super cool dude. If you've never driven with him, never met him, go do it. Anyway, about a 20-minute video. It is slowed down to about 2/3 speed. Gives me a chance to kind of talk and talk through it, but trying to help everybody out. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the trucks and a little bit about Key City. And hey, here we go. All right, guys, we're going to jump right in here. This is my new C1. It is 23 rules compliant, and we're already into this. This is gate 7. Again, this is slowed down 2/3 speed. I'm trying to get up. It's a pretty big hang up here. I do have some bearings on my bumper that allow me to roll up, but what is stuck right here is my front diff. So as I'm pushing, trying to get up, the truck does go a little bit sideways, but I am able to get the front end up. Now this is a G-Speed chassis V1 C1. I'm running a Hobbywing FOC 2300 kV brushless system in it. So I'm running a winch here through custom hook on the back of my roll cage that I made. The winch does slip a little bit here. I didn't do a good job, and I actually have to rehook it and take the second winch penalty here. Again, truck is 2023 SORRCA rules compliant. It matches all the rectangles, blah blah blah, and I'm really focused the last couple of comps on not getting any type of touch repo type situation. They're going to apparently be really stringent with that with your winches, so everything is smooth. I'm trying to go up into gate 8 here. What I'm trying to do is get my front driver's side up on that log, and my wheelbase at 11.5 is just not quite enough. I am running pit bull rockers up front. They're a 1.7 by 419 tire stretched over a 2.2 super shafty Osprey, and that's what I ended up doing there, is just giving it a little bit of pop, and I'm able to kind of hop straight through that rock. We turn into, this should be gate 9 here, and initially, and you see kind of gate 10 right straight ahead across the stump there. Initially I was going to try to make the turn. I thought a little better of it. Just I was lined up, ended up going straight through 9, and then I'm just gonna take a loop here and come back around and get a little bad hop there, and then again, not being on top of my truck, driving, take a really goofy rollover here, and end up taking the 5-point penalty. Now with a rollover, if you're new, your truck cannot leave the ground, has to roll side to side. I do get a clean roll, and I'm coming right back and headed into going back through 9 for the second time now, just trying to line it up. I know it's going to push a little bit, but I come straight through 9, get up cleanly onto the stump, and then there's a little bit of a pop here as you go over this into 10. So I just want to stay as far to the passenger side as I can, let that suspension drop down on the driver's side, and then just a little bump of speed here to get me across without the rear wheel hitting the driver's side. And boom, there you go. So a little series there. So this is the next course, and this is starting at gate 1. It just came out of the starting box, and we're coming up onto some 2014. You know, if you've been in the game for a minute, you know these pieces of styrofoam with concrete on them. These are 2014, 2015 Motorama up in York, Pennsylvania remnants that after AJ and the fellas did Motorama last year in 22, they brought this stuff back with them, as 23 is not going to happen. So what I'm trying to do here is keep my driver's side tire up on the points of those rocks, and that's going to allow me to pull my skid and the portal axles, because it's still a pretty significant rock there. It's difficult to see the depth of it from above, but I'm able to keep the tire up, and like I said, the pit bull's grip, and pull me right across that. This is gate 3, and what I'm worried mainly about here is as the rear passenger side comes up, I'm worried about the truck pushing. It actually sticks, and then we're just going to be a real nice dig around this corner without falling off onto Dave's trucks there on the bottom. And then the gate where Dave's foot was there is not my gate. It's on another course, so I'm not worried about that gate. Turning right up the hill here. Looks like a pretty straightforward gate, but as you can see, I'm not running sliders on this truck yet. It can definitely hang up, but I'm able to get the front up and pull the rest of the truck through pretty simple. And then I'm going to turn hard driver, and my next gate is right there in front of the Judge off to the right. So I'm going to come back down the hill. I'm running to me a Blackfoot body, custom scratch built interior. Again, that gate right there is not mine. G-Speed chassis, Reef's Raw 500 up front, Reef's IS 800 winch. The Raw 500 is the servo. The IS 800 is Reef's internal spool. I'm only running it on 7.4. You can crank it all the way up to 8.4. Me personally, I don't like a super fast winch. I feel like it doesn't give me the finesse and control that I personally want out of a winch. There's a lot of guys that do really well with a faster winch. And I got this lined up and discovered kind of the first potential issue with the Blackfoot body in Class 1. You can see what hung up there was actually the corner of the flare side bed, and it just caught the corner of that rock. What I should have done was come a little further out passenger, made a bigger loop, and kind of drove back toward the driver's side gate. But I am able to get some traction there with the rockers and get up through that gate there. This is gate 6. It's a pretty significant little popover here. There are some jags, diff catchers on the top. I do drag the belly a little bit, and then just got to heat the tires up and find some traction, and then we're able to crawl right up through that. Next course, and this is, I want to say this is gate 3 again, maybe. A little bit of horsepower, a little bit of heating the tires up, and then with the bearings on the front bumper, I'm able to get that up and over, and then the pit bulls and the smooth hobby wing take over from there, and it's just able to walk me right through this gate. I am running Dave's special secret, super secret suspension setup on all of my trucks now, and I'm still getting used to it. Take a nice little tumble here, but I'm able to get it back onto its wheels. I continue the reverse there, and then here's the benefit of the Blackfoot body, and especially potentially the new 23 rule set. I'm not as wide. I don't have the old 22 half coverage on the tire. I'm pretty close. Definitely not in the front, but pretty close in the rear. I'm able to wiggle here with the Reef's Raw 500 and get that rear end to set, and then just nice, smooth, steady power from the hobby wing, and it just inches by that gate, ever so close. And with Super Shafty, and that's his bomb gates, you got to watch them because they have a little wick that sticks off of them, and depending on how that wick is turned, it'll get you in trouble. You can see Dave's hand there giving me some directions. And what I was worried about most here was coming down and catching my bumper under that lip of the railroad tie, which sets the edge. And that's pretty much exactly what I did. And I'm just trying to work it out here. I do take the little reverse there, and the rock ends up moving. I think I actually got the gate penalty here, because even though the gate moved, the rock moved. I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly what we did, but it takes me a couple of reverses here to get out of this. And it's a pretty decent little lip down there. It's, I don't know, a couple inches, but you can see I'm buried in there pretty good. And I think this is where I actually get the gate. I can't remember how we judged it. I end up finishing 4th overall in C1. And here's the balance in this truck. It's all super low. It's balanced in well. I'm basically walking on the edge, and then it just flops right back over to its wheels. Points me right in the right direction for the next gate. I make quick work of this one. I do call time after this gate to fix my next gate there on the left, which is fine. So we're right back to it. I'm able to get a little bit of overdrive in the front of this truck, and with some TGH mild gears in the portals. And I'm running there, in this particular truck, I'm also running TGH forward motor mount and T-case, excuse me. But I'm running it, it's the US version, and I'm running it in 0 overdrive, because I'm putting my overdrive through their gears down in my portals. Now here you can see I'm real smooth with this. I don't want to move the truck. I don't know exactly how different folks are going to call this whole touch repo when you're moving your winch and unhooking your winch and rehooking your winch, but I'm trying to practice and get it down. We don't use winch sticks at Key City. I know those are in the new rule set. We just don't use them. Not that it makes us a better driver, worse driver, but on comps where there is no winch stick, I think it makes the guys here local a little bit better, because we have more experience hooking up winch to natural objects. All right, we're going to move right into Class 2. This Class 2, you can see it's exact same truck body. It's a Blackfoot. I am running the Corrupt Carbon Works Ninja. Love this truck. It has taken me a little bit of time to get adjusted to it, because it is so quiet. Like, it's all metal, trans, everything, deluxe drive shafts, metal gears, everything straight across the board. But it's just so quiet that I was so used to just such a loud truck. I always knew where it was, and with this thing, it's so quiet. Sometimes I lose it, and I have to figure out exactly where I'm at. Anyway, made pretty quick work. I want to say that was actually gate 1. We're coming up to gate 2. I'm running the Rock Beast XL from Pitbull on this truck. This is a 475 tire. It's stretched over, again, a 2.2 Osprey from Super Shafty. Chassis is Corrupt Carbon Works Ninja. I already covered that. I'm running a Hobbywing FOC 2300 kV brushless system in this as well. And in this truck, I also have the Reefs Raw 500 servo and their comp spec winch, which is an IS 300, which is a little bit faster. I'm running it again at 7.4. When I come through this gate, David told me, he said, "Hey, watch your front passenger side." So what did I do? I proceeded to drive right into the hole. Dave just said, you can see him pointing at it again. So I ended up burning a reverse here, and but I'm able to steer right out of it with just a single reverse. Anyway, Hobbywing FOC 2300 kV brushless system, Reefs Raw 500 up front, their comp spec winch, which is an IS 300 there, and again, Dave Z's super secret special suspension setup. I'm running, so in class 1 I'm running Trio AR45s. In this I'm actually running the super shafty CP43 axle setup on this truck. It's a little bit wider than a 45 in the front, a little bit narrower than a Capra front, but the cool thing with this is that rear end is naturally slimmer than the front. It's the same axle, CP43 front, CP43 rear by super shafty, but just naturally a little bit narrower in the rear, and you see it make quick work of this kind of off camber, little bit of V crack. I got the purple super shafty wheels. I am running Crazy Crawler Pro foams in this truck and in the C1 truck. Great foams. It allows you, it's kind of like an Oreo cookie. It allows you to sandwich their foams, which are cut top to bottom versus in sections, and it allows you to stack your foams whichever way you want to. Straight through this one, most people were trying to go up to the next gate. We actually turned right and came back down. Here's the next one. You get a little bit of acrobatics here. Got a lucky bounce there after hammering the skinny pedal. Again, that's gate 1. You got to come up that ramp. It's super slick and it's easy to get off of it. And then you can see there's a nail or a screw right at the top that AJ put in there. Likes to hang the belly draggers up. So through gate 1, my C2 didn't go super well. I did have a DNF on one of the courses, so it dropped me to like 17th out of like 33 or 34. Straight up through this, the Rock Beasts they're a little wet now, but they do super well in the wet. It's a great all-around tire. I've really been impressed with the Pit Bulls in the last year or so that I've been running, maybe 2 years. They're completely wet now. This is a tough little section. You know, a lot of guys were giving it the beans, and then they would come and their front end would pop off of that railroad tie, or they would grab a gate in the process. I gave it a couple little half tries here. Got really close to the gate there. I decided to go ahead and probably just back out of it, and I think I pulled line here. Yeah, because it kept kicking me to driver's side, so I go ahead and mess with the camera a little bit and then get my winch fired up. I did move my truck there. The touch penalty wasn't called. Depending in some places, that's probably going to be a touch repo, which is going to cost you 10 points and send you back to the previous gate. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. Like I said, I don't know how exactly folks are going to call that. I think it's going to be tough to manage, but I can definitely see the need for it, because there was a lot of touching and pulling and hanging on and all kinds of stuff going on at different places. So I'm glad that Diamond Dan and SORRCA kind of, you know, set that rule a little bit more difficult, but it is going to be interesting to see how it's enforced here going through the next comp season. All right, this is gate 4. Nice little rollover here. Does take a little bit of pop because it's a high rock, so a little bit of blip right here, and it just goes right through. And I've got to come back up to, I believe, is 5. So I'm going to turn down. You see the flexibility there in Dave Z's suspension setup. And I'm going to do a little wide melon here. I'm just spin my tires off, sling off any extra water that's hanging on. But like I said, the Pit Bulls do really well in damp, especially the Rock Beasts in the damp and the wet and the mud. Real simple gate here. Looks a lot worse than it is. but I'm just going to poke the front end over. Again, a little blip. I know the gate on the passenger side is kind of covered. It's down in a little crevice. So I know I'm going to roll kind of over it. And I did call time here. I'll probably should take this out, but it's too late now because I'm into my voiceover. So hey, you're just going to have to watch me walk around. There's Chris, and then, you know, Dave Z's famous legs. This is gate 6, I believe, coming right at me. Now I do end up clipping this gate on the passenger side. I probably should, instead of messing with it here, I should have just, you know, given it a little skinny pedal. But with the new 23 rule sets, you have to have one tire in contact with the ground as you're traversing the gate, etc., etc. So the day of jumping through gates, I think, is gone. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how they enforce that at some of your larger comps, ECC, NATs, etc., etc.
I'm coming back.
And then I just simply lose where I'm going here, coming back to 7. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Go over there, your gate's over there. And I'm like, crap. So I get a little wiggle. And then I just eat up on the face of this rock. Now here in this, I'm running again TGH portal gears overdrive. So I've got mild in the front again, stock in the rear. Again, TGH, their gears are pretty tough. I've never had any problems with them. Let's see. So I'm wiggle here, trying to get my front end down, and I get myself in a little better position, but I'm just not comfortable with it. Got a little bit of slick because once those rocks get wet, they just kind of stay wet, and I'm pushing into the passenger side. So I'm going to wiggle here, get my front end back down. Again, that Reef's Raw 500, it's got some twitch and some jump. So I'm able to get the front end down, save myself a reverse. And again, with the CP43s, they've got 20% camber, whatever that stuff is called, that gives them about, I want to say 50% steering, something like that. It's a little bit more than the AR45. And I'm able to make a pretty tight turn to come back at this gate. Once I hit it in the right direction, you know, the pit bulls hook up, they get up on that concrete. And all right, guys, so that is it. Again, appreciate it. I love being local to Key City. It gives us a great indoor place to practice, place to comp. You know, he had almost 100 drivers at the last comp, or 100 trucks, something like that, whatever it was. But it's just he's expanding it, making it bigger. Love being this close, love having it in the winter. So if you haven't been there yet, come on up. Beyond that, man, appreciate you.